Hi friends, welcome to my channel, and today in this video I'm going to show you how to migrate virtual machines from VMware ESXi 5.5 to Windows Server 2012 R2 on a Hyper-V basically. So before moving further, we need to make sure we have a Hyper-V environment configured and ready to move the ESXi virtual machines from ESXi host 5.5, or if you have any other ESXi host running virtual machine. So let's see what we have. So in my environment, this is a demo environment. In my demo environment I have three virtual machines basically. The first one is acting as an Active Directory server, which is vmdk 12 DC01. This is running on Windows Server 2012 R2, and the IP address is 192.168.1.254, and I have assigned 8 gig RAM to this machine. So here's this machine. You can see Active Directory and DNS role is running on this machine, and we have a victorinfosol.com domain, the IP address of this machine, RAM, and other configuration. So this is my domain control where you can see the DNS is configured. You can also go and see the Active Directory users and computers for my Active Directory objects. Here you can see we have a few servers here. Hyper-V server, we have two Windows Server 2008, 2012 machine, and other things. So this is my Active Directory infrastructure basically. On the second machine we have a Hyper-V host, which is Hyper-V 01, which is running on Windows Server 2012 R2, and the operating system is 2000 R2 basically, and the IP address 192.168.1.254, and I have assigned 32 gig of RAM to this virtual machine. Here is the virtual machine. You can see I have pre-installed Hyper-V role. If you have not installed Hyper-V role, you can go ahead and uh, install the Hyper-V manager role from add-on remove feature by selecting the Hyper-V role. So this is my Hyper-V server. You can see the Hyper-V 01, and this machine is joined in my domain victorinfosol.com, and you can see it's having 32 gig of RAM and around 200 gig of hard drive. So this is my machine, and if you go to Hyper-V, I have configured Hyper-V switches. If you go here on Hyper-V virtual switch, you can see I have created a one vSwitch, which is external switch, which is communicating with my these all three virtual machines. So this is my Hyper-V server, and the last one we have a ESXi 5.5 host, which is the host name is ESXi01, which is running VMware ESXi 5.5, and IP address configure 192.168.1.254, and I have 32 gig of RAM this machine, and this machine is also joined in my victorinfosol domain by the DNS name. So you can go here, vSphere web client I have installed on my Hyper-V server. You can see this is my IP address of my ESXi server, and I'm going to log in and show what we have there. So it's loading, and now you can see we have one ESXi which having two virtual machines here. So I'm going to power on both the virtual machines to see what we have on those virtual machines. You can see if I go to host, you can see two processor, 4 socket, and all others detail like a RAM, 32 gig of RAM, and you can see that we have two virtual machine. And in configuration you can see I have storage connected with this ESXi around 400 GB. So this is my ESXi host. So maybe you can have a ESXi cluster and a Hyper-V cluster, where you are going to move the ESXi virtual machine from ESXi cluster to Hyper-V cluster. You need to follow the same procedure to migrate the virtual machine from ESXi cluster to Hyper-V cluster. So all the steps going to remain the same. So let's see what we have on these virtual machines. This is a 2012 machine. So I'm going to log in, and let's log into 2008 R2 machine. So both the machine is logged in by server admin account. So these machines are also joining my domain, and the IP is configured here. So both the machine having 8 gig of RAM, and you can see the details here also. So these two machines we are going to migrate from VMware. Currently it's running on a VMware infrastructure, which is ESXi 5.50. I'm going to move it on Hyper-V. So what do we need to go? I'm going to just log off from this machine, or so to migrate the virtual machine we require a Microsoft Virtual Machine Manager converter. So I have here MVMC, which is Microsoft Virtual Machine Converter. So I'm going to install it. It's a very small setup. You can go ahead and install on any of your machine or any of your servers. So I'm going to install it. You can see it's very simple. Installation is completed. So go ahead, finish, and let's go. And you can find here the Microsoft Virtual Machine Converter 3.1. This is the current version, latest version. So I'm going to launch it. And Microsoft Virtual Machine Converter. So before we proceed, I want to make sure we have a configuration of these two virtual machines. A basic configuration which we require is the IP address, because after migrating the virtual machine, once it's moved from the VMware to Hyper-V, it's going to lose the network connectivity. So we need to assign the NIC manually to the virtual machine, and then we need to configure the IP address. So I have marked down the IP address is 192.168.202 for the Windows 12 server 2012 and 201 for the 2008 machine. So I have those details. So before you begin, you can see what we can do. You can virtual machine manager converter is a standalone tool that convert and migrate the VMware virtual machine and disk to Hyper-V or Microsoft Azure. So it means this converter can migrate your physical or virtual machine which is running on VMware to Hyper-V or Microsoft Azure. So click next. Here we have an option virtual machine converter, or you want to convert the physical machine. So I need to convert a virtual machine because this is running on a ESXi, and I want to move it to Hyper-V. So click next, virtual machine, and here we have a two option: migrate to Microsoft Azure or migrate to Hyper-V. So I'm going to migrate to Hyper-V. So click next, and here you need to put the select a Hyper-V host as the destination for the virtual machine. So I'm going to put on this machine only. So I'm going to put the Hyper-V, my Hyper-V server IP address, which is 141. So let's wait. It's going to take a few seconds here. Here we go. So click next. It's checking the validation. So we got the successful. So here we have a specify the path to store a virtual disk. So I'm going to browse it. I'm going to put in my destination drive. Where is my C drive? Under the C drive I have a HV folder, and here I'm going to put the machine. So I'm going to copy this and put it here, and the disk I'm going to move to dynamic expanding disk and click next. And here we have a specify the detail for the connect to vCenter server or ESXi or ESXi server. So I'm going to put my ESXi server IP detail here. So it's 251 and the credential for it. Click next, and now it's going to search all the virtual machine which is there on a VMware, vCenter or ESXi host. So I have a two virtual machine here. So I'm going to initiate the Windows 2K8 R2 machine migration first. So you can see all the detail. We have a 4 CPU, we have 8 gig of RAM, and the hard drive, and the OS version is also there. So click next, and now we have an option after the conversion is complete, what we are going to do. So final state of source virtual machine, I'm going to put a power off, and the final state of destination machine. So it means on a both source server means this ESXi, and the Hyper-V server, it's going to be in power off state. So good to go. Click next. Now it's going to check the workspace where the converted disk is going to store during the conversion of the disk. So I'm going to create one folder here, call it convert. This is a temporary storage to convert the hard drive from VMDK to VHDX. So click next. Now it's checking so everything seems good. Here we have a one warning which we can ignore basically for now. And so the source and destination power of the selected virtual machine, where we are going to keep the VHD file. So good to go. Click finish. And now you can see the validation conversion is started. It's going to take few seconds for now, and then we can see the status is going to start. So now you can see we have a creating snapshot. So now if I go here, you can see the virtual machine is going to create a snapshot first, then it's going to uninstall the VM tools, then convert disk, restore. After the disk conversion is complete, it's going to restore the snapshot which is it's currently taking, and analyzing this, copy disk to the from the this basically from this converted drive, which is temporarily. Here you can see the temporary disk to the Hyper-V virtual machine path which we have given to store the Hyper-V files, virtual disk files. So it's going to take few seconds here. Once the snapshot is done, we are able to see the hard drive conversion processes running here. So I'm going to open the task manager also, where you can identify the performance of the network when it's going to convert the disk. So you can see it's still taking the snapshot. So it's almost completed. 55% snapshot is completed. We have to wait for a few more seconds, then we can move to the next step, which is uninstall tools. And this step, it's going to uninstall the VMware tools from this virtual machine, then it's going to convert the disk. So now you can see this task is also completed, and now it's started the uninstall tools. So it's running. So still we don't have a file started, conversion started, so we don't have any source file getting created. So now you can see it's this disk is started at 12:30 p.m. So now you can see the disk is started converting. Now you can see the size is getting increase of this disk 01. So this conversion is going to take time. It's depending on your disk size which you are being used in a VMware. So once the disk is converted, it's going to restore the snapshot and analyze the disk, then copy disk going to run. So I'm going to pause the recording here, since the disk is getting converting going to take some time, and then I will resume the video once the disk conversion is done. Now you can see the analyzed disk is completed, and it's copying the disk. And you can see if I go here, you can see the disk is getting copied now. So it's going to take some time till the copy is running, and once the copy is completed, you are not be able to see this a zero folder here, because it's after the provisioner it's complete, it's going to automatically delete this folder which is creating by this migration process. So it's going to take some time, so let's wait. And for now you can see on a Hyper-V where we don't have any virtual machine, and now it's provisioning our virtual machine is started, and it's going to complete very soon. So it's completed, the conversion was successfully, so we can go ahead and close this. Now if I go and browse this machine setting, You can see here the disk is enable dynamic memory is checked, so I'm going to make this disable and going to set. And as I told you, it's going to lose the network connectivity, so I'm going to connect my vSwitch here and apply the power on this virtual machine now. And you can see the 0 folder was got deleted, so that's good to know. And I'm going to connect this, and you can see down on VMware we have a status powered off for this machine, win2k 12 R2. So now seems good, everything seems good. So once we are going to check this machine, and if verify everything looks good, we are going to migrate the second virtual machine, which is win2k 12 R2. So just give some time to this machine because it's going to install all the drivers and generic drivers and everything which is being used by a Hyper-V now. So we are good to go. Hit Ctrl-Alt-Del, log into this machine, and we need to go and check the IP address settings. So we need to configure the IP address on this machine once again. So you can see your computer restart required. So it's because it's maybe it's installed some drivers which is generic driver for Microsoft virtual machine. So we are good to go. I just want to configure the IP address and then we can go ahead and reboot this machine. So I'm putting my IP address here for this virtual machine, 201, and the DNS. Everything looks good, and wait for this machine. It's going to communicate now. So now it's be able to communicate. So I'm going to restart this machine and then verify everything is working fine, and then we can go ahead and start the conversion from second machine to migrate the from VMware to VMware ESXi host to Hyper-V. So code, click Ctrl-Alt-Del to log in. Going to put my credential, and now I'm going to verify the network connectivity by ping vector info. So I'm going to ping my domain. So it's replying, very good. And now I'm going to do the NS lookup. So everything seems good here. So now we can go ahead and migrate the second virtual machine, which is win2k 12. So I'm going to use the same way. So it's a virtual machine conversion. Click next. I'm going to migrate it to Hyper-V. Click next, and then I'm going to put my Hyper-V server IP address 241. It's going to take few seconds here to respond to the console. So just wait for a few seconds. We are good. Click next, and we have to put the source disk address. So I'm going to put my HV folder disk and paste it, and I'm going to use the dynamic expanding disk. Click next and put the IP address for the your ESXi or vCenter IP address. So I'm going to put my ESXi 5.5 address. Click next, and we have one machine running which is win2k 12. So I'm going to migrate this machine. So the destination final state of source virtual machine, I'm going to put it power off, and the final state on destination power off. So click next. Where you want to save the converted file, so I'm going to save in C converts. So click next. It's going to run the validation. So everything seems fine here. Just click finish to initiate the migration. Now you can see it's started the validation for the conversion. Then it's going to perform rest of the steps. So it's going, we need to wait for a few seconds here. So now you can see its create virtual snapshot is started, and it's going to create a snapshot, uninstall the VM tools, convert the disk, and restore snapshot, analyze this. So all the process is going to remain the same, which we have just done for Windows 8 R2. So I'm going to pause the recording for now. Once the conversion is done and provision is done, we will power on this machine and we'll check the settings and everything is looking good on this machine. So I'm going to pause the recording for now. So you can see the conversion is also completed now, and we have 2012 machine is also migrated. We have here, you can see, and I'm going to change the settings now, make the disable the dynamic memory, and going to map the network card here. So now I'm going to power on this machine. So now we can go ahead and close this also, and we can close this window, and it's starting the machine. And now you can go and see the on a VMware, you can see the machine is powered off. So both the machine is migrated to Hyper-V, which we having the one Hyper-V host we have. So just verify this machine. So getting device ready. It's going to take few seconds now to give the login screen. Please wait. So hit Ctrl Del to log into this machine, and then we can go ahead and configure the IP address. So I'm going to open a network settings, and we have Ethernet 2, and I'm going to configure my IPv4 address here. So it's 192.168.1.202, and the DNS 192.168.102.54. Click OK, and everything seems looks good here. So I'm going to reboot this machine once, and then we will verify everything is working fine on this machine. So now it's rebooting. Hit Ctrl Del. And I'm going to open the command prompt and do ns lookup first. So ns lookup is happening. It's detecting my DC. Network is fine. I'm going to ping my domain name, which is victorinfosol.com. So everything seems good. So we have successfully migrated our machine, which is running on VMware ESXi, to Hyper-V server 2012 R2. So this is all about how to migrate virtual machine from VMware ESXi 5.5 to Hyper-V server 2012 R2. So thank you for watching, and if you have any query, any question related to this, please post me on my given mail IDs. Thank you once again for watching. Bye bye.